I'm in my comfies today because I am doing a lot of work on my novel today, so I'm in full comfy writer mode. So another wonderful reading year has been and gone, and it's only fair to take a little time out to appreciate some of the books that came out in 2015. I just want to add in a little disclaimer here. Not all of the books in this video came out in 2015, I just happened to read them in 2015. But on the same note, the advanced copies I received of books that aren't out until next year are not on this list at all. But I will state accordingly whether they did come out in 2015 or not. Asking for It by Louise O'Neill. This did come out in 2015, and this follows Emma O'Donovan, and she goes to a house party, has a bit to drink, wakes up the next morning on her front porch with absolutely no memory whatsoever of what happened at this party or how she got home, until pictures and videos start appearing on various social media sites. You can probably get an idea of the content and the topic and the theme of this book based on the title alone, but I'm not going to go too much into it because I did cover this in one of my previous wrap-ups. But Louise O'Neill has this amazing ability to write about issues that are obviously really, really big issues, but we just seem to kind of gloss over because they are such big and serious issues. And the quote on the front from someone who obviously read the book before it came out says, O'Neill writes with a scalpel, and that could not be more true. A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. This book features 4 alternate Londons. Grey London, which is kind of boring and there's not really any magic there. Red London, where life and magic kind of flourish and there's a really good empire there. White London, where basically whoever gets to the throne has basically murdered their way there. And Black London, which nobody really talks about. The book follows this mysterious silhouetted character on the front here called Kel, and he is a traveller, which is a rare type of magician who have the ability to travel between these different Londons, and he basically smuggles things from one London to the next for people who are willing to pay the right price, until one day he smuggles something that he probably shouldn't have. Simon versus the Homo sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli, and this has got to be the most long-winded title for a book, but I picked this up earlier in the year because I kept hearing so many good things about it, and I don't tend to read much YA contemporary anymore, actively. I don't actively seek it out. It's just so cute, and this book follows Simon, who is a 16-year-old teenager, and he's gay, and he exchanges emails with this person called Blue, just basically talking about their lives, and they have this kind of lovely little connection, until one day one of his classmates finds the emails that Simon has been sending to this person and vice versa, and threatens to basically reveal to the entire school that Simon is gay unless Simon does this classmate's bidding. Also, I found out recently that apparently there is a companion book coming out, so I am very excited. Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. It's just so darn creepy. Basically it's a mixture of text and old photographs, and I found out when I was doing research for a review for another blogging site that originally Ransom Riggs was just collecting creepy photographs like this one on the front from various collectors around the world, and he just wanted to make a picture book of these creepy photographs called The Peculiars, but his editor said that would probably not sell very well at all, so suggested that Ransom go and try and make some kind of book incorporating these photographs that he'd found, and the Miss Peregrine series was born. This follows Jacob, who after the mysterious death of his beloved grandfather, goes to this island in Wales to basically come to terms with the fact that his granddad is no longer alive, but also to learn more about him. And while exploring this island, he finds the old orphanage that his granddad would always talk about, called Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. And this place is in ruins, and he just goes there just to have a look around. And then he stumbles across a boy who can turn invisible and a girl who can produce fire from his hands. So naturally, Jacob does a sensible thing in this situation, and he runs away, but ends up trapped in a time loop on 3rd of September 1940, on the day when Miss Peregrine's home gets blown up during World War II. I don't have a physical copy of this one because I read it on my Kindle. Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. Again, I was really late to the party on this one. Throne of Glass follows an assassin called Selena Sardothian, who has been basically a slave in these salt mines for her assassination-y crimes, and she gets brought into the kingdom by the Prince Dorian, who offers her a deal where if she takes part in this competition to become the king's champion and she succeeds, she'll have to serve the kingdom for 4 years as the king's assassin, and then she can be free. So naturally she takes the better option of the two and decides to take part in this competition. But as the competition progresses, a lot of the other candidates start dying in weird and mysterious ways, and she thinks that she might be. All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven, and this seems to be quite a controversial read. A lot of the booktubers that I watch have reacted quite negatively to this one, but personally I just really enjoyed it. I think it was definitely worth the hype when it first came out. This book follows Theodore and Violet, who meet on the top of the school bell tower, where they both plan to jump off. Not together, they just happened to be jumping off the same building. And basically they get to talking and they talk each other out of jumping off this building, and then they get paired together on a school project and their friendship kind of flourishes. This is also apparently going to be a movie, and Jennifer Niven has written the screenplay or the script, I believe, and apparently, I don't know if it's definitely been confirmed, but apparently Elle Fanning is going to be playing Violet. Another one I don't have because I lost it when I moved back from university, and that is Uglies by Scott Westerfeld. This follows a young girl called Tally, who is what their society calls an ugly, and when you turn 16 you go through a kind of surgical procedure that makes you a pretty, where basically all you have to do is look good and have fun. One day her best friend Shay decides that she doesn't really want to be a pretty and she doesn't think things like that are important, so she runs away. And when Tally goes to have her prettifying procedure, the authorities tell Tally that she has to find where Shay is and bring her back, and if she doesn't, Tally will not become a pretty. Heard very mixed things about the rest of the series after Uglies, so I haven't really actively ventured out into the rest of the series, because for me personally, Uglies works well as kind of a standalone book. Again, another one I don't have, but this time is because it's on my Kindle, and that is Everything Everything by Nicola Yoon. And I was lucky enough to get an advanced copy of this several months before it came out, so everyone was like, I really want this book, and I was like, ha, ha, ha. This follows a girl called Maddie who is allergic to everything, so she can't leave her house basically, and she hasn't for her entire life, and the only people she's ever really spoken to are her mum and her nurse. And then one day a moving truck appears next door, and this rather attractive boy, Ollie, appears, and Maddie becomes increasingly more interested in him, and they begin talking online and forming a cute little friendship, and Maddie comes to the realization that she will do anything to get to know Ollie in a more physical sense, even if that means risking her life. Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. And yes, I did read this because the film came out. It follows Nick and Amy Dunn, who are celebrating their 5th wedding anniversary, and Nick goes out in the morning to get last minute wedding anniversary presents while Amy puts together the finishing touches for her annual treasure hunt, which consists of clues that link to various points in their marriage and obviously the surprise at the end. So Nick comes back after buying all of these presents to find the living room of his house trashed and that his wife is gone. So he calls the police show up and quickly assess that the damage that's been made to this room has been very clearly staged. And then they find Amy's diary where she talks about how she was afraid that her husband was going to kill her. A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. You don't know how long it's taken me to be able to say the title without messing up. Even Sarah can't say it. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. It follows a huntress called Feyre who, when she's out in the woods, kills a wolf, and this beast-like creature ends up coming to her home, basically seeking revenge. And he takes Feyre as his prisoner and accepts her basically as payment for the crime. And she gets taken into this realm that she didn't know existed and had only really heard of in myths and legends, and finds out that her captor, Tamlin, is actually an immortal fairy. I'm really scared of holding this book right now because I went to the signing for it and I got it signed, and I'm really afraid that I'm going to drop it and like rip out this page or something. So these are my favourite books of 2015. Let me know in the comments what your favourite books were. Are any of your favourites featured here? And what books are you looking forward most to in 2016?